Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. So there was some fireworks over Israel last night, and if you haven't seen it, I'm just going to remind you very quickly. And you can see a number of missiles hitting Israel, and approximately 200 missiles were fired from Israel, and they pretty much overcame the Iron Dome arrow missiles. The British tried to stop them, they couldn't. The Americans tried to stop them using their F-35s and missiles from the aircraft carrier, and that failed as well. So pretty much absolutely failed in their defense of Israel. Israel looks like it cannot defend itself. And all of this was pretty much coming, guys. All of this was coming. I mean, all over the Western media, you are saying that, oh, Israel has been attacked by Iran for no reason whatsoever. They are calling it unprovoked attack as well. And they are not giving reasons as to why this has happened. Israel had it coming, basically. So I want to take you back to July. And July, you can see Iran vowed revenge as it accused, it says here in the Financial Times accused, but it's not accused. Israel did kill one of the Hamas leaders, and also Israel has been taking a lot of escalatory steps to provoke Iran into attacking. One of the escalatory steps was invading Lebanon, and you can see from this paper alone is saying Israel is replicating its brutal Gaza playbook in Lebanon, and you can see the damage it's doing to Lebanon. And they cannot use the same excuse as Hamas on Lebanon. Lebanon did not go into Israel in October 7th. Lebanon, Hezbollah did not kill Israeli civilians. I mean, the rocket attacks that Hezbollah has been doing has been purely on military sites only. They have not been targeting any civilians whatsoever. It's only been a military sites. So what excuse are they going to use? I mean, look at the destruction here in Lebanon. They're killing civilians left, right, and center. And according to estimates, I think there are around 1,000 civilians killed in Lebanon so far in a week's bombing, and they are completely leveling it to the ground, absolutely leveling it. And the other escalatory step that they done was they killed Hassan Nasrallah, who is the Hezbollah leader, and he was a very, very strong leader. He's been leader of Hezbollah for a number of years, and he was one of the leaders that rose up against Israel when Israel last tried to take Hezbollah and invaded Lebanon, years ago, we're talking about. And this story came out today saying that Hezbollah leader agreed to a temporary ceasefire days before assassination. So he agreed this temporary ceasefire, and again, Israel, they do not care about ceasefires. They do not care about hostage releases. They do not care about anything. They basically do what they want. And they always do things to jeopardize peace. Any peace deal comes out, Netanyahu and his merry men and Israel, they seem to be jeopardizing any peace deals that come forward. So Israel pretty much had it coming. I don't think they expected Iran to fire back so like this. I think Israel was pretty shocked. And, Israel has been trying to be this superpower in the Middle Eastern region. No country can hit it. No country can touch it. And Israel has never been hit like this by another Muslim country. And so they are pretty much shocked. All the Israelis are shocked. All the you can see social media is pretty quiet. They never thought Israel would be brave enough to fire all of these missiles at Israel. So their invincibility shield is slowly disappearing. Other Middle Eastern countries are taking note. They are seeing the weakness of Israel's Iron Dome. Iron Dome is pretty good for weak, cheap, Palestinian rockets that do no damage. They're easily taken out by these Iron Dome missiles. But against hypersonic missiles, against even ballistic missiles, any missiles, that goes above Mark 5, for example, it's absolutely weak against those missiles. So Israel and the US has spent hundreds of billions developing these Iron Dome missiles, by the way. And each missile itself is not cheap. They come at a heavy cost. And they've been firing these missiles to take out Hezbollah rockets, Hamas rockets for years now. And they have been spending probably over 100 billion so far maintaining these missile systems and firing all of these rockets. America cannot produce these rockets fast enough, and they have been depleting and costing Israel hundreds of billions, just kind of firing these over the past years. And the last attack Iran did, this is the second attack, by the way, the last attack Iran did, there was estimates that the United States spent 1.2 billion on that one day trying to defend against those Iranian missiles. And the first attack the Iranians did last time was a response because Israel attacked their embassy in Syria. So that was a response to that. And Iran gave them plenty of notice. They fired all of these drones, which took about 6 hours to arrive in Israel. So they had plenty of notice. And one of the things that Iranians managed to figure out from the first attack was intelligence. They managed to figure out what air defense systems were used against these weapons, these ballistic missiles, who was defending them, where these anti-aircraft missiles were coming from. So they gathered a good amount of intelligence. But in this second strike, you can see these strikes were much more efficient. They hit Israeli targets, almost the ones I wanted to hit were majorly hit. Some of the targets were a massive military base which housed F-35 jets, and apparently a number of these F-35s were destroyed. They also hit the Mossad center as well, and they also hit military bases all over Israel, and also they hit troop positions in Gaza, where the Israeli troop positions were. They hit them in Gaza, and they also hit them in Hezbollah as well. So it was a well-rounded attack, really caused Israel a lot of damage. It's going to cost them tens of billions to repair. But mostly, this has shaken Israelis to the core. Israel is no longer deemed safe. And immediately after this, the airports were fully booked. All of the airports were fully booked. All the flights were fully booked, traveling out of Israel. People are leaving in drones. People are leaving Israel in drones. It's no longer a safe haven where Israelis can go there and, live a life of luxury and take Palestinian land and stuff like that. But it's no longer safe anymore. I mean, Israelis were safe in the West, right? There's lots of Jews living in America, UK, France, even rest of Europe, Ukraine, you can say, Russia even. So they were living in life of luxury in the West. So, why would they leave that luxury and go to Israel, where it's a war zone? It doesn't make any sense. So they're going to be leaving in drones over the next, I think already there's numbers about more than a million Israelis who have left, and there's more leaving almost every single day. And this is going to cause huge economic issues to Israel. And, the more people leave, the more businesses will shut down because they make less money. A lot of the workers for these businesses are not working anymore because they're serving the IDF. And there's so many bankruptcies happening in Israel at the moment. Inflation is going through the roof. And you can imagine the economy is not doing well. Plus, they're losing a lot of gear. They're losing a lot of gear in Hamas. Hamas are taking out tanks and bulldozers every single day. They're losing a lot of men in fighting Hezbollah, and now they want to start another war with Iran. I mean, Israel is basically taking money from the American taxpayers to pay for these wars. Israel is not paying for it. Americans are paying for it. And the funny thing was, there was a hurricane in America, and Kamala Harris offered these hurricane survivors $750 basically, while they are sending money to Israel. 8 billion they announced recently to go to Israel. They're sending money to Ukraine, and funnily enough, they're sending money to Taiwan as well. And Taiwan is not even in a war zone, and they're sending money to Taiwan. I mean, why is Taiwan more important than the people, suffered during the hurricane? It doesn't make any sense, right? It's absolutely crazy. So I want to take you to the next story. So yeah, I mentioned the Hezbollah leader, Hassan Nasrallah. He was a great leader for Hezbollah, and he's a very charismatic leader. And he came on. He used to come on regularly on Twitter and give his speeches and stuff like that. So he's a well-loved person in Hezbollah, and this is one of the reasons why Iran had to strike, because for the past few escalations, Iran had actually, decided not to escalate. But I think this was the final straw, the straw that broke the camel's back. And Iran had to retaliate, because this leader was a very, very top leader in the Shiite community. So Iran had to do something, basically. They really had no choice. The new prime minister who got elected for Iran, he said that he agreed a ceasefire deal with the Americans and the Israelis. As long as they do a ceasefire deal with Hamas, the war ends. Iran will not respond. But then at the bottom he said that the West lied to us. They lied, and yeah, I mean, he's a new prime minister who's kind of come into Iran, but he's learned very quick that the West cannot be trusted. So I want to kind of show you this interview as well. This interview was fairly, I don't know if you've seen this, guys, but this is fairly funny, this interview. This is Professor Morandi. I don't know if you heard of him. And this is Sky News doing their usual BS. Even during the Ukraine war, they were just spouting lies after lies after lies. And even now, they are spouting lies as well. And listen to what he says. It's almost ridiculous.
Andy from the University of Tehran joins us now. Thank you very much for being with us, Professor. I just wonder, first of all, what has Iran achieved by this attack on Israel? Very few of the missiles got through. It, in effect, failed. Many people are calling it a humiliation for Iran.
I think that's a lot of wishful thinking on behalf of you and your colleagues at Sky News. It was a massive blow to the Israeli regime. And the history of this conflict doesn't go back to last year. It is 76 years of ethno-supremacism, ethnic cleansing, and this is a racist regime that you support. What the problem is that you cannot recognize that the difference between you and us is that you support racism and racial hierarchy, and we reject it. And the Israeli regime, if they dare strike back at Iran, we will hit them much harder next time. We will beat them into submission.
Well, they will strike back, won't they? No sovereign country can put up with having 180 ballistic missiles fired at them. So they will hit back, they will hit hard, and they could well hit your nuclear facilities, your oil production installations. They could cause Iran serious damage.
Listen, instead of the rhetoric, be real, because you're misleading your own people. Iran has countless underground missile sites with hundreds of thousands of missiles across the country. They were made after the US invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan to deal with a potential war with the United States. So this puny regime, it is not a state, it is a colony. It is a racist, ethno-supremacist colony which the people call themselves the chosen people. Unlike you, we do not believe in chosen people. And the Palestinian people on that land who've been displaced and pushed into Gaza and who've been slaughtered regularly over 76 years, we will not stand for that. All people in the whole of Palestine must be equal. The Israeli regime, if they strike Iran, we will hit them much harder next time. And they can pretend that they got away, but we hit them very hard last night. We hit their bases. And unlike the Israeli regime, which constantly carries out slaughter and genocide and is carrying out a Holocaust in Gaza, we struck their military targets. Because unlike you, we actually care about human rights, not you.
Professor, let me just say that.
So did you hear that, guys? I mean, the Sky News again showing its true colors. Those of you who don't know, Sky News is owned by Comcast. Comcast is an American company, media company, and the founder of Comcast is actually Jewish. So, and also recently, Comcast has came online saying that they have been asking another one of their news outlets called MS. They also own MSNBC as well. They've been asking them to tone down on the Gaza conflict and not to kind of show Israel in a bad light. So you can imagine a pro-Jewish guy who wants Israel to be shown in good light. He owns Sky News, so he's going to tell all the reporters to be, pro-Israeli. And this is Comcast, guys. You're welcome to check it out. And I'll go to the next story. So Netanyahu basically came online, and he was on television, and he was shaking. And he was shaking, when he was reading from his article, and he was saying Iran's going to pay, blah, blah, blah. But even he was kind of talking gibberish. He says Iran's missile attack on Israel failed. I mean, anybody that has social media can see all of these missiles hitting Israel. So how can it fail? It's avoided Israel's defense systems. It's been numerous missiles has hit Israel. So how has it failed? It's hit many military bases in Israel. People are scared in Israel, thinking they're not safe anymore. This Iron Dome is useless. And this is the first time a Middle Eastern country has, been brave enough to hit Israel. And don't forget, Israel is protected by the United States, NATO, UK, France. And recently France and UK signed a deal with Israel saying that if Iran attacks Israel, then France and UK will take steps to attack Iran. And so where is UK and where is France now? They signed this joint agreement with Israel. So where are they now? Are they attacking Iran? I mean, they're nowhere to be seen. So next story. Oh yeah, next story. You can see Starmer coming on. Starmer came on the television. Starmer's been in hiding in UK, by the way. He's been hiding in UK because the economy is so bad. And also there's a big there is a big issue of him taking bribes or something, and he's been wearing some clothes he shouldn't be wearing, and there is a major issue, and his premiership could be cut very short because of this scandal. Anyway, he's come out of hiding, and he's condemned the attack on Israel. But where was his condemnation when Lebanon was attacked or is being attacked? Where is his condemnation where over 1,000 civilians in Lebanon got killed? Where is his condemnation where Israel is starting another front, against Lebanon? And so where is his condemnations? All these, 100,000, 200,000 civilians being killed in Gaza. None of that. He talks about condemnation against Israel. And they asked him about whether Britain would go to war with Iran. This was because of that agreement they signed with Israel. But he's saying no, we can't go to war with Israel. Blah blah blah. Britain cannot go to war with Iran. I mean, come off here. They couldn't even defend Israel from all of these attacks. You think Britain has got any resources to fight Iran? They've given up all of their resources to fight Russia in Ukraine. They've given all of its weapons, missiles, everything to Ukraine. You think Britain has got anything left to fight a major war against Iran? Oh, come off it. Even the defense minister came out today saying we have got no capacity to fight another war with Iran. We've literally got nothing left. Even he said that. So you can see from this article, UK armed forces not up to defending Israel from missile attacks. They're basically useless. They're basically these ships, and they've got a couple of ships just off the Israeli coast, and they've got a military base in Cyprus, and literally they're useless. They cannot defend Israel from Iranian attacks. So I don't even know why they're there for. Even US couldn't even do it. So they are a bunch of, it's just for show in their day. When a big guy comes knocking on the door, they basically run off. They like chickens, basically. So Biden also came out with a statement saying Israel shouldn't strike Iranian nuclear sites, but US official recognize it has a right to respond to an attack. So first of all, Israel cannot attack Iran's nuclear sites. It's impossible, and I'll tell you why. If they do destroy the nuclear sites, these are the nuclear sites that Iran has declared to the IAEA, and there's a few of them scattered around all over Iran. So even if Israel managed to destroy these nuclear sites, Iran knows that these nuclear sites are in a major, Israel and US has been threatening to destroy these sites for over 20 years. So Iran knows this. So they have hidden nuclear sites all over Iran. These are underneath mountains. And Iran is a very mountainous country, and they have hidden all of these underground bunkers and nuclear sites, all underground. These all over Iran, all over the country. So it would be absolutely impossible to find out where all of these bunkers are or nuclear sites are. And if Israel does not destroy them all, then what Iran would do, they will immediately declare they are a nuclear state. They will immediately declare, we need to have nuclear weapons. Our country's survival depends on it, and we will basically go nuclear. So this will give Iran the push to go nuclear, and they will announce it within hours of the Israel strike. Secondly, they won't be able to destroy all of the nuclear sites. It's all going to be going underground. And Iran's gonna basically kick out all inspectors. They can forget about JCPOA. They will absolutely go nuclear like Pakistan has done. And if Israel attacks Iranian oil sites and gas sites, that's going to be an even bigger headache to Biden and the rest of the world. I mean, already the oil prices have gone up over the last few days because of this. And if Israel attacks the oil and gas sites to Iran, first of all, this is going to affect Europe, because Europe gets a lot of LNG from Iran, by the way. So this is going to kick Europe in the nuts again. Secondly, this is going to really impact China. China gets 90% of Iranian oil, 90%. So do you think China's going to sit there taking this on the chin? China will not allow Iranian, oil facilities to be destroyed, and China would take some serious steps in not allowing these oil facilities to be destroyed. And also other countries in Asia take Iranian oil, like India, for example, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. A lot of these countries are reliant on Iranian oil. So Iran, if Iran's oil facilities are destroyed, all of these countries' economies are going to greatly suffer. Oil prices are going to go into hundreds or even $200 per barrel. The whole Western economy will collapse because the inflation is going to go through the roof. And this is all just before the re-election in the United States. The United States will not allow this to happen, not in a million years. So I don't expect Israel to attack Iranian oil facilities or nuclear facilities, plus the escalation it would cause. So I think if Israel does attack Iran, it'll be very limited strikes, I guess. Very similar to what Iran has done to Israel. And also, all the Gulf countries just announced today, like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, they've UAE, and they've all announced that there's a no-fly zone. Basically, Israel cannot use its airspace to attack Iran. That's what they said today. So if Israel wanted to attack Iran, they have to fly across a different route. They might fly over Jordan and they might fly over northern Iraq, but it's all up in the air. So we're not 100% sure how Israel is going to attack Iran. It might even be using ballistic weapons as well. So we'll see what happens, but it's going to be a major mistake if they attack the oil and nuclear facilities. So Russia is evacuating citizens from Lebanon, and they've also asked all Russians to leave Israel as well. So 20% of Israel are Russians. There's a lot of Russians living in Israel, so it's a big, huge amounts of Russians that live there, and it's been very hard for Putin to kind of balance, Israeli relations with the Middle East, but you can see that Russia is more going towards the Middle East, and I think you can see from this article how they're basically accusing Russia of exploiting the conflict. They're not exploiting anything. End of the day, you just have to look at where Russia is heading. They are joining the BRICS. The BRICS is mainly Middle Eastern countries. Most of Russia's business is in the Middle East, and even back in the Soviet days, Soviets had very good relations with the Middle East back in the day as well. So Russia is more pushing towards relations with the Middle East, and that means what Israel is doing cannot be in Russia's interest. And Russia's got huge amounts of sanctions, so Russia needs the help of the global South and the Middle East, Asia. Basically, they have to be against what the United States and Israel are doing. So Russia's got its own own push towards making more friendlier relations with the Middle East, as opposed to what Israel's doing, which is burning bridges with the Middle East. So Russia has asked its people to leave Israel, and this is because there might be some retaliation coming soon, because Israel attacked one of the Russian bases in Syria, and Russia's not very happy about it. So why did Israel blow up this Russian base? Mainly because they might be planning an attack on Iran, and they might think that Russia might use that base to stop, an Israeli attack, or they might take down some jets using that base. So because of that, Israel took that base out. So Russia's not very happy. That's why they've asked people to leave Israel, because whatever's coming looks like there's going to be a major retaliation either way. So watch this space, guys. So US says it's just is basically talking about Israel in its response, and I think behind the scenes, the United States does not want this. You know, if it escalates just before the elections, if things escalate to a great extent, this is good. This is going to be the end of the Democrats, the end of Kamala, the end of Biden. Nobody will ever vote, you know, for them ever again. Plus, the United States economy is just going to go up in smoke if this war escalates, and if this escalates any further. The oil price is already going up, and gold prices are going up. People around the world are using the dollar. People have no confidence in U.S. Diplomacy. There is no U.S. diplomacy. You know, U.S. soft power is dwindling by the day. So this is really bad news. This is not in America's interest to push this war. You know, they were supposed to pivot towards China and focus on China. Now they're dragged into Ukraine. Now they're dragged into the Middle East. So there's an old saying, do nothing and win. So China is, at the moment, is doing nothing and winning because the United States is basically, and its proxy Israel is basically burning bridges around the world. You know, the world is in flames because of them, and more countries are now trusting China and also looking favorably towards Russia as well. But yeah, this is not good news for the United States and going forward in terms of geopolitics and its influence around the world. I mean, recently Netanyahu came to the UN to make a speech, and nearly every single delegation walked out. Every single delegation walked out, and we're talking about hundreds of countries just got up and left, and there was empty seats everywhere around the UN. So whatever Israel does, this is looking badly on the US as well, because US backs Israel, and this is making the US look bad. This is making the UK look bad as well. So this is not good at all in terms of their diplomacy. I mean, they can never ever go to another country now talk about human rights. Never. Because every single country will now turn it back on them, saying, human rights, what did you do during Gaza? What did you do during the Lebanon, crisis and wars there? What did you guys do? Just sit back and let Israel do its bidding, gave them money, gave them support. You guys were in on it. You don't care about, Arab human rights. You only care about human rights when it suits you. So, they will never ever be able to go to another country again and preach about human rights. They have lost that power. So I'm going to bring back the Idiot of the Day section today. And today's Idiot of the Day is Macron. And Macron made a speech recently saying how Macron has... saying how EU has lost all its power. The United States does not take Europe seriously anymore, and it's actually quite funny. And Macron is suddenly starting to wake up, and people around the world are basically saying, you are basically an idiot. It's too late now. The United States has completely destroyed Europe. And you guys have went along with it. You've gone along with the United States with Ukraine. You've basically blown up Nord Stream. You've destroyed your own economy. You've alienated your relations with China and the rest of the world. You basically have yourself to blame. So if you haven't seen the interview, this is it. So I'll put this on now.
I think we have to be lucid on our situation. Europe is no more the top priority of the US. The US top priority is US, which is normal and fair. The second top priority is China. And for the rest, it depends on the moment. They are a super loyal and reliable partner on Ukraine. Will it last? I don't know. I think we have to be lucid on our situation. Europe is no more the top priority of the US. The US top.
So he's realized it now. He's saying that Europe is no longer a top priority for the US. So the US has been using the EU for years now, and up to the point where it's destroyed the German economy, destroyed the French economy, destroyed the UK economy. You know, for example, with the Nord Stream, I mean, German manufacturing is absolutely non-existent now because of the US. US has made this happen. Same in France, same in UK. It pushed UK to kick out Huawei, and it cost UK tens of hundreds of billions. You know, we're talking about long-term costs as well. You know, they had to take down all of these Huawei units and replace them with cheap units that don't work and more expensive units that don't work even. These are like, you know, Nokia and stuff like that. And still to this day, we don't have 5G. And when you don't have 5G, the costs of not having 5G, we're talking about hundreds of billions here. You know, it's not like China where you have 1 terabytes, you know, per second. It's nothing like that. I mean, when you don't have 5G, you as a country are so far behind of a country which has 5G. For example, one of the major benefits of 5G is transferring of data, right? So if you're a company and you're transferring loads of data from one server to another, or one company to another, or one site to another, you can transfer in seconds if you have 5G. But if you don't have 5G, you have to wait for hours or if not days. And, you know, time is money. And when you spend that much time transferring all of that data, you know, you basically, you lose money in the long term. And all the other benefits that 5G provides, you know, UK doesn't have. You know, it's just poor. It's just really, really poor. And, you know, they're destroying the European UK economy, and now they've done with the Europeans. They know that they're weak, they have nothing left, and now they've dumped them. You know, like you dump a girlfriend after you've used her. That's how they've used the EU, basically. They used and abused her and dumped her once they've had everything they can from her. And that's what they've done. So, yeah, Macron is the idiot of the day. He's finally realizing the truth. It's a shame he didn't realize it before. And so, yeah, that brings me to the end of the video, guys. Take care for now, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.